tactical enlightenment, we're just going to have a little bit of a recap before we start this episode. The previous episode, we gathered up some looters here to reinforce our new city that we took at Hassan Folk before quickly marching over to Danustica. Now, Danustica was very heavily defended, but after pounding down the counter siege for a little while, we were able to get Hugh the Hammer and some of his lovely ladies up on the wall, where they commenced to punishing the enemy for trying to defend this future rebel town. Obviously, the defenders put up quite a defense, but there's not much of a match for this kind of a hurricane of hammer death on the walls. Now, Danustica is going to be a critical city in this campaign, as it'll be a bit of a springboard to future attacks on the kingdoms that are at war with us. Just to recap that, it remains that we're at war with the Southern Empire, the Western Empire, the Northern Empire, basically all the Empire fucks, and then the Aserai and the Khazate. So after smashing through Danustica, we reinforced that as well as we could. Then we headed south because we had to deal with forces that were attacking us almost immediately at Hassan Folk. This Khazate force, we ambushed the hell out of these guys and then set up a serious death trap for their horse archers, as women in prom dresses charged their horse archers as they repeatedly tried to get away from our mauling forces, only to be met with more infantry around the next bend and then a torrential hail of darts for the final coup de grace, as this Khazate force really did melt away here. They began sieging Hassan Folk maybe a few days after we started attacking at Danustica, and they really did melt away quite quickly in this episode. After that, we were able to gather some reinforcements and thoroughly reinforce Hassan Folk because we needed to head south to deal with an Aserai force that was assaulting a hub yard down here. So a little bit of a trek to get down there, recruiting troops all the live-long way. The Aserai force actually broke apart, and we were able just to simply destroy this smaller Aserai force in the open. Another battle in which, again, Hugh the Hammer really earned his name, smashing his way through their archers to finish the deal here. Whatever it was, Fiend Champs, Marksmen, Aserai Master Archers, they just melted like butter under the hot Aserai sun. So that gives you a little recap. Now we'll lead into the live narration of this next phase. All right, our army now over 2,000 with all these different armies in it, and we're not sleeping very easily these days, right? We got one eye open. We got murderers in our army. I'll be able to include that. One of the Aserai nobility was just murdered. It says they're murdered at the end of that battle. I didn't capture the guy either, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at that, but that was hilarious. We're now gonna turn loose all these potential murderers. This is like a game of Risk or whatever that's called. No, what's it called? Clue, where it's a mystery, right? Who murdered Dial and where and why? How'd they do it? What'd they hit him with? A halberd or something? Now, that was fascinating for sure. A nice little wrinkle on the... I don't have any mods that I know of that do stuff like that. And it didn't say so-and-so murdered him. It just said he's murdered. So we've got a little mystery, but it's a wonderful thing to be sure. Murder is a wonderful thing, right? I'm sure all of a sudden, if your mom walks by or your wife, you're like, fucking turn that off. I can't believe you're listening to that absolute garbage. Obviously, we're having a little fun here. We're having a little revolution. Tell her that we're embracing communism, right? All of a sudden, she's going to be like, what? What? Turn that shit the fuck off, right? And we're going to be... I can't remember the name of like some of Marx's famous books, but I'll try to say those once in a while in a menacing way so that all the people in your household think that all of a sudden you're going to be a murdering communist or something like that. The FBI is suddenly listening into all your conversations because we're having some fun with Bannerlord. In fact, I embraced murder in Bannerlord. Let's see if we can't get all the Google algorithms just to be gone completely haywire here in this campaign, in this wacky police state world that we live in today. Of course, some of you guys watching, you guys are like babies or 7-year-olds or 10-year-olds or whatever during 9/11. I was actually at the fire station when that happened. We watched the buildings go down from our day room in the dining room. I'd only been firefighter, I think 5-6 years at that stage, right? I was a fairly young kid, and just like the rest of you, any of you older guys, I watched all those events occurred live, and we realized that life was going to be a little bit different after those events, especially since almost 10% of the people who died that day were firefighters, right? It certainly hit home here. Well, nothing I could do about this, but these fucking minor clans are leaving us, right? These forest people no longer serve us. Sons of bitches. We're having a real clan problem. I have a real reinforcement problem here, right? This is, I'd be calling in the Viagra of reinforcements here. Get us some prescription meds. These minor clans, of course, as all you guys probably know, they will ditch you at a moment's notice. And it doesn't seem to really matter. It's not like they weren't getting battle. Both of our armies have been active in killing the enemy recently. There really doesn't seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason to it, and they just ditch you. It's a poorly designed system, to say the least. But we are now down to just the Beni Zilal in our army. And if you think about it, it's going to be very difficult for us to get minor clans to join us because we're at war with 5 kingdoms. So it's not like minor clans are walking by, neutral minor clans are walking by left and right where we can just walk up to them and add them to our army, right? We're in a real dearth here of reinforcements. We're very much doing this campaign on our own, which incidentally, right, the channel, this YouTube channel has been almost entirely on my own. I've done just a little bit of subcontracting with some thumbnails. I found a professional to make some beautiful work. Most episodes, his name will be in the credits. I apologize if he's not in the credits for this episode. More than likely, he's not going to make the thumbnail if that's the case. But for the most part, I've done all this on my own, and that's a 50-year-old non-techie figuring out all the nuances to everything from the algorithm and the search on YouTube to trying to make my own thumbnails and stuff like that. It's been quite a challenge. I do want to talk more about the French Revolution as I make my way west here. I've decided we're going to defend Quayaz. Our noble armies were all right next to us here, and it can serve a double purpose. I want to destroy the Aserai. Well, the Aserai only have Poros and Onika Castle. Now, there's a chance they attack our back door. They attack like Danustica, but I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. I can go over Sichanis armies raiding our villages. 3 birds with 1 stone. We're going to kill the Southern Empire, execute Sichanis for raiding our villages like a fucking terrorist. What a disgraceful fuck he is. And then we are going to rampage on whatever force. I can't remember. I think it's Northern Empire that's attacking Sanaa. Look at this. The Beni Zilal just ditched us as well. So now we have no clans. 0. So it really is just us. And there's nothing I can do about this except, who's this? There's a little minor clan guy right here. I wonder if that's, what is it, the Forest People guy? Oshir or something is the leader? It is. Oshir of the Forest People. We might be able to chase this guy down here and basically, I don't know, reconvince him to join our army. I wish you could say, join our army or die, basically, and give him the old gangster terrorism approach, and he would be like, okay, that seems eminently reasonable. Do what the sicarios and the drug cartels did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s down south of the border. The United States, they had a saying. It was Pluma. I think it was Pluma or Plata. I'm probably butchering it. Yo hablo español un poco, pero no hablo español muy bien. I speak a little bit of Spanish. My wife and I are learning. But it's what they were saying is silver or lead. So maybe I got one of the words off or something like that. And the gist of it, if you're a judge or police chief or something like that, is they were saying, look, we'll give you money to leave us alone, right? The drug dealers would go to the authorities and say, so, you're trying one of our top sicarios, one of our top dogs next week. I'm going to ditch a few of these armies here. We're going to go with the reduced sized army. I know that seems crazy, but I want our other army to have more troops here. We can actually give him Kolharn. He's this guy's brother. He's got some good skill sets too, so hopefully they don't butcher. Hopefully they don't fucking kill my brother. But they would go to these judges and police commissioners and whatnot and say, look, we're going to run drugs through here, and you have 2 choices, right? You can either let us do it, and we will give you money, bribes, or we're going to kill you. We're going to ask for your answer tomorrow, and the guy would be like, I don't need to tell you my answer tomorrow. I'll tell you today. I'll take money, right? It's basically the easiest negotiating on earth, right? Who wants to die? Nobody. Who wants some additional money so they don't die? Everybody. Very astute by the drug cartels, and they used that for a long time. I wish we could use that with our minor clans here. Damn it, Lath the swordsman had died in battle. Well, I mean, the death for all mod is on. That's the first death we've had in a long time. It's amazing the enemy doesn't die. I mean, we've had like 20 battles in this campaign where I was sure we were going to kill 3, 4, 5 enemy nobles, and they're not dying. But we just lost that's one of the leaders of one of our player clans, which is a major bummer. But it is what it is, right? Like, this is just part of the game. We'll roll along here. So we're really losing reinforcements left and right, although we did wrench the arm of the forest people and tell them, you bitches are back in our service. So we have one minor clan helping us at this stage. Now, look at this track coming off to the right here, and then it's going north. That's got to be Sichanus. There he is, in fact. You fucking asshole. This is now the emperor of the Southern Empire. He took over after Regaea's head was chucked out on the battlefield, and we're gonna fight him right here. Hopefully I can get over to these looters. Look at, he's beelining me. Perfect. Another one of our brothers who just came of age joined the army. We're going to gather up these looters here, and then fuck you, Sichanus. We're going to fight you. I got to get a little bit more comfortable here. This is a big battle, right? This is a very large force, and as you can see, even though not only we outnumbered, but I just added a whole bunch of fucking looters and mounted ransackers, and we're going to give this a shot here. Any one of these battles could be the battle where we're captured. And I remind you, I don't save scum, right? We've been just rolling along here. I've been playing like 2 hours, and we haven't saved scum in a long time. We had a crash, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes ago, but we roll into these, right? Full head of steam, and of course, the power bar almost favors us, so we like our chances here. It's not like this is do or die, but for Sichanus it is, or Sichanus, or whatever his name is, it's definitely do or die for him, because we know if they fail in this battle, he's a dead man. And what a beautiful setup we have here. So they attacked us. What does that mean, right? That means they must come over this ridge to attack us. And Sichanus is a dead man, right? The Southern Empire have a 0% chance of winning this battle. Now it's just a matter of how badly we whip them here, right? How much... I wish we had 700 troops. This would be a lot more interesting to fight, with less troops. But we have another battle after this, and I'm wondering, I think I might have the low unit prioritization still. I might need to zoom in here and make sure. It seems like we've got a ton of looters. I don't really want to lose this battle because we have hubris here. Yeah, there's a ton of looters in here. So I'm just going to back out real quick. We will change the unit prioritization and then reload the battle. You can't do it mid-battle. You can't be like, okay, change the units I have on the battlefield, but I can simply come in here real quick, and it'll be like nothing happened. Not a cheat code or anything. It's hardly an exploit. Just changing what troops we have on the battlefield. That way our 400 looters come in last. And this is the kind of battle that could be the reason we win. I don't think it's going to be. I hate to ruin your suspense. With this setup, you guys see the Peekaboo Ridge. It's not just a Peekaboo Ridge. It's a Peekaboo Ridge with a funnel and defensive rocks. It would be hard for me to design a better battlefield for us here in this situation with our army makeup. I mean, we still have a good army. It's not like our army is trash. Just the back 400 or 500 of it will be trash, right? A whole bunch of looters and mounted pillagers. Some of those guys are actually going to be on the battlefield to start because we probably have 500 or 600 total looters and mounted pillagers and stuff like that. It's just the nature of it. We probably have a core of 700 really good troops, maybe 600. All right, so second corps going to guard this side. You know what I'm actually going to do? We're going to dismount them, and I think the 7th. I want lots of archery fire here, and even though they'd be mobile on horse, they shoot better off a horse, and I want to use their horses here to slow down a cavalry charge on our left. The 8th will cover the right here. So we'll do the 4th and 5th in big, long, stretched out lines here. Just tons of archers. And mounted pillagers or not, when you have 400 guys shooting arrows, even if they're low level, they do damage. The 8th Corps. How come there's so few 8th Corps? I don't have any cavalry? I thought I'd have a lot of cavalry with all these mounted... Oh, this is why. I got to divide the 3rd Division. I think what happened is I did it for the first battle and forgot I needed to do it, when we backed out. Forgot I needed to do it the second time. So we'll reset that. And that's what I'm talking about. Now we have like 130 cavalry. I don't mind not having a lot of cavalry, but you can't have like 30. I mean, you can, but it's just not going to be very effective for us. I want these defensive lines, and I want to have some ability to run down the enemy when we advance. All right, 1st Division, of course, will hold the center. We'll almost certainly be using them as a square. It's not a perfect square, right? There's no elite infantry in there. But those Iron Maidens are really strong, right? They don't do any damage, hardly any damage, but they hold up their shields, and they got a nice long spear for cavalry. They've been working out real well. So 2nd, and let's get the 7th just tucked in right behind those guys, just like this. There. And now I can get those cavalry. We'll dismount both of those units. I'll use the 2nd in the square and then the 7th at the back as an archery line. The 8th Corps is a nice fat 4-deep line over there protecting. On this side over here, we have the 3rd Division and the 6th Division, which is a mix of shock troops, skirmishers, and then archers in the 6th. And the enemy has to come around this corner to deal with those guys. This is gonna be savage. Now, the only thing I don't like here is that the enemy does have space to set up. All this ridge I'm walking on right now, I wish that was a sharper ridge. This bitch just comes tearing in here like she wants some. Where'd she go? Stupid bitch. Come fight me. Yeah, of course you run. All right, over there, we're going to dismount these 2 cavalry units. Sometimes, I swear, the enemy just sends a lord up like that to distract you, and sometimes it's very effective. I get all hubris and want to fight one companion while my troops are standing around saying, well, I guess he's forgot about us, right? I guess we're just squirrels. Suddenly, we're going to have a duel while 800 or 1,000 Aserai bore in on us. Great, that's terrific. It's good to know we have an easily distracted commander, but alas, right, we're able to move things. I'm actually going to move archers up just a bit here so that they're closer to that ridge. I don't want the enemy setting up 400 archers right here and just pounding down into the valley on us. I think moved up like that, we'll be able to prevent that. And look, the savage attack is going to come from that right side, right? That 3rd and 6th Division with archer support boring in on the enemy is going to be unbelievably destructive. This looks good. For some reason, there's dipshits off their horses, but they won't join where I told those divisions to go. Not quite certain what that's about. Here comes the enemy with a dipshit flag bearer. Get the fuck out of here. Take your eagle standard. It's a lot of infantry, but boy, are they in for it, right? These guys, you better hold up your shields there because you guys are going to get mauled. All right, let's square this 4th Division as well. This heavy cav charge actually went around my cav pretty well. A lot of them got jammed up there, but a good 80 to 100 of them made it in, so we'll square that 4th Division, and as soon as these guys peel out, we're going to unsquare and start to strafe this enemy. I'm getting ready with the 3rd Corps to charge in on the enemy over here. We're dragging the 1st in front of the enemy, right, waving in front of them, giving them a little taste. Come this way, right? You guys want to charge this way. The 2nd's also in a square, and look at this 3rd Division position. It's unbelievably juicy. They're throwing javelins already into the back of the enemy. Archers are shredding. In fact, let's pull back this 5th, give them a little bit more room to negotiate. And this 3rd Corps and I, we're just going to carve these enemy forces up. This is going to be nasty. In fact, they're zerging the square, which is perfect. Let's give the 8th Corps the job of holding this gap, right? We're basically going to stick them there to isolate the enemy infantry from their archers. We're not going to let their archers really help these guys at all. They're going to get swarmed by the 3rd Division. The 1st Division is holding a defensive square. In comes the 3rd, and look at how nasty this is. Look at, we've got our protectors lined up there, and now it's time. Kill them all, he says. And they're just going to melt. And they can't run. If they run, they're going to get shot by archers. Look how badly they're getting scorched by archers. They are absolutely in the vice. And they're all going to be dead. None of these guys are going to escape. The 3rd Corps is right behind me, or at least coming behind me, and the enemy is just fucking straight flattened here. Outnumbered, just and outgunned. It doesn't matter at all. These guys are absolutely mangled. This happens sometimes too when I play for a couple, 3 hours. Like I said, sometimes you just get so in tune with your mouse and keyboard and tactics, and you have a plan, and your caffeine is sort of peaked at its half-life. And apart from killing the occasional mounted ransacker, now we can just regroup all our units. They're forced to attack us, right? Let's just pull everybody back, reset all these lines, and it really does become like this beautiful symbiosis where you're connected to your troops, the game, your mouse, your keyboard. You guys hopefully don't hear me clicking away. I do a pretty good job of sort of shielding it. I've got a couple little things that shield a lot of the mouse clicks from you fellas. It's more noticeable in quiet settings. That's one of their troops. It's an elite mercenary. None of these guys are allowed in our army. Have a javelin in your neck. We're not using those guys. That guy looked like he snuck into our army again somehow. It's probably one of these minor clans, right? One of these, or whatever. They're just recruiting them. All right, so we've got reinforcements trickling in here, which means we suffered some losses, but man, did we shellac that first enemy wave. That was brutal, and this next attack is going to be just as bad, right? They have no chance, zero, of getting over this ridge. We can open fire now. They don't have that many troops there. I think I'll just get off here and help my guys. You know what I can do here? The 2nd Division, we can use these guys, right? I can bring up just one very light sacrificial infantry division. The 2nd Division is a lot of those mounted ransackers. The enemy's in a shield wall facing the wrong way. I mean, they look about as bad as they look. These guys absolutely look like fodder. I mean, when you have a battle set up like this, you look at it like... This is as bad as you can fight right here. The enemy is completely pounded. They just look like a bitch. All right, so here come a bunch of archers. Good, right? The Peekaboo Ridge can now start to activate. And Peekaboo Ridge, right? Those archers are only going to be in a line 1 or 2 deep. And most of our archers can shoot. So you hear the arrows whistling over my head. These archers are just going to fill the screen with green as they try to advance their units in here. It's back to 3rd and 6th up. This 2nd Division, let's just plug them in here in a square. Square right here against this wall. That'll give me a little space to retreat to if I need to, but I don't think we need to. I'm barely injured. I got a shield. We're beating down Imperial Elite Cataphracts. In fact, let's kick this guy to death. There's a bunch of guys there poking him with their sword. Let's kick him. You guys kill him and I'll kick him. I mean, we're obviously, you can tell I'm very comfortable at this stage of the battle. In fact, I'm just going to kick this guy. This is our side. Go back to where you came from, motherfucker. Just going to kick this guy off the battlefield. We're just abusing the enemy in this battle. You can see the death spam, right? They're trying to get over the ridge, and it's a Peekaboo Ridge. They can't. So now it's time to swallow them up. We're going to be able to do a lot of damage here before our melee even have to fight. We're going to weaken the shit out of their forces, kill half their archers, but I also want to surround and destroy this force so that they can't retreat. I've got the 2nd, the 1st, and the 5th here holding the center. The 8th Corps is gone, I guess, so they suffered some losses, some severe losses. Over on that far side, I'm moving to 3rd, 6th. Oh, I do have the 8th. Somehow I thought we didn't have the 8th. And these guys are fucked, right? They're getting scorched with arrows. They've already had a beating here. The arrows continue to fly in here. In about 30 seconds, that 3rd and 8th is going to be able to join us over there. They might even charge us here. And if they charge, that'll be even better, right? Because the 3rd, 8th, and 6th Division will come right up on their left flank. I'm moving the 1st to lead here. There are shields, right? I've got these guys right next to me now in a shield wall. Go get them, boys. They are charging. How beautiful. The 3rd, 8th, and 6th are going to come in behind the enemy here. This is going to be sick. The 5th Corps doesn't have great line of sight anymore, so those guys can just be told to charge. This 2nd Division is also in a square here, and now the 3rd, 6th, and 8th can join this giant battle. And they have a lot of troops, but man, is this a fucking slaughter in the making. And of course, my character now is just, especially these are tier 3 and tier 4 units, they just get ragdolled every which direction. It's just like the enemy just flies all over the place. His hammer is so fast. Everything gets pounded. They're trying to regroup now. It's a pounding. Their cavalry is pounded. Their archers are running for their lives. Our infantry is now boring through the middle. I did charge with that 1st Division. They're a decent little offensive unit when you need them to be, but the real damage is being done on the flank here. The 3rd, 6th, and 8th coming in on the enemy's flank here, enveloping them. We can bring our archers up here, but this has been just a complete thumping. About as bad a thumping as you could have in this game. I mean, getting your shit pushed in is what this reminds me of. That's saying that you young kids like to use. I presume that's a colloquial reference to having forced anal sex. That doesn't seem like a particularly fun thing. And for sure now your mom or your wife or girlfriend is like, turn that shit off. This guy is so vulgar, such a fucking piece of shit. Let's do some eloquent lecture on the French Revolution here, just to regain some level of trust here. So just like these pathetic Southern Empire, the French Revolution started to get rolling because they basically recruited the whole nation. Various different leaders of their revolutionary government basically said, look, our whole country is threatened here, not the revolution, your very lives, right? Guys like Robespierre, guys like Danton. If you don't know much about these guys, in the next 5-10 episodes, I'll talk more about them. But these guys were the powerful politicians and orators of the era. The guys that would get up on the pulpit, up on the stand, and tell people, right, your very lives are threatened here by these foreign mercenary armies that, by the way, the king is conspiring to help bring here to restore the Bourbon monarchy. And eventually, of course, there was a vote. The king tried to flee. Tried to I can never remember the name of the city, but he basically was captured. He tried to flee as kind of like a minor house of nobility. They were recognized and captured and brought back to Paris as virtual prisoners now. And by this stage, there was evidence that they were colluding with foreign countries to put down the revolution by force. Other countries' troops destroy, the revolutionists, probably hang people, all kinds of blood vengeance to restore the Bourbon monarchy and absolute monarchy, and the people were had finally had enough. And just like the 1640 bit with the English, where they're like, this guy's an enemy of the state, Louis XVI was indeed executed. How did we not capture this fucking guy? This is fucking aggravating. Sejanus somehow got away from us here. I guess he fled like a bunch of the rest of those losers. So we're going to round this guy up here. And while we do so, I'm just going to spend a minute to capture this guy. I'm not letting this guy get away to round out that point. So we'll now advance to the stage where the French people are now being run mostly by the bourgeoisie. If you've never heard of that term, it basically means the people with law degrees and money, and some of them had titles that they bought from Louis XIV and 15th, right? They had hereditary titles of nobility, the noblesse de la robe. They were basically merchants and other people who were sophisticated who bought their way into the nobility. Of course, some of them were just regular old Joes, and what I mean by that is they were not ennobled. And they were smart enough to recognize, look, there's a new government taking shape here, right? The previous king has been executed. He was executed by guillotine. And the French were basically forming a new country. What do we do here, right? Well, do we make should we have a constitution? Should we be a republic? Should we be like an American democratic system? There was all these different kind of ideas flying around. And at the same time, the Duke of Brunswick, I've mentioned it before, the Duke of Brunswick is writing his manifesto. What's that fucking thing called? I can never remember the name of it. But basically, that was him saying, we're coming in with this army, this combined army of Prussia and other country, Austria, and we're going to restore the French monarchy. Well, they said that, and 6 months later, I think, give or take, Louis was killed. The French people basically called his bluff and said, oh yeah, if anything happens to him, you're going to come fight? How about this? What happens? What are you guys going to do if we behead the French king? What then, you bitches? Come get some, right? And there was war, right? And this effectively led to the 20 years of war between Napoleon. Catch that fucking guy. Man, this guy, I guess he's just faster than us. Well, he just died. He just died for sure. Captured. Whoever's got him. No, we got him. Execute Sejanus here while we ramble on. They executed Marie Antoinette as well. She was seen as also trying to collaborate with the enemy to restore the Bourbon monarchy and Louis XVI back to tyrannical overlord power. And by now, the people had just completely lost faith in monarchy. They were losing faith in religion as well. There was an incredible religious upheaval. There was even much atheism. They got rid of, what was it called? The Julian calendar or whatever. The calendar, of course, that most people in Western culture go along with today is made by the Pope, right? It's a Catholic type of calendar. Some people in the United States and Westerners are surprised to find that China and other countries have a totally different calendar. In fact, for a brief period, I want to say England and other countries have had different calendars as well, where they dumped calendars made by a pope. They're like, oh, it's made by a pope. Fuck that, right? We're not going to do that. So the French people are sort of descending into atheism and anarchy. There's still rule of law, but anytime you have a revolution like this, crime goes way up. There's definitely a feeling of whatever happens, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like, you know, people just are killing each other in the streets, and the previous power is no longer a threat, and so lawlessness sort of becomes the order of the day. Now, they eventually did restore order. Robespierre and a number of the other bourgeoisie politicians eventually started to restore things, and they started to have legal gatherings, conventions, and whatnot, trying to write a constitution and other bureaucratic processes for this new France. I'm going to take a little bit of a break here, and we'll be right back. I'm going to actually interrupt myself one more time just to get back to the game here. I know half of you guys don't give a shit about the French Revolution and want me to stop blabbering about it. Well, Han the Golden has formed an army up, and they are fighting over here. So very worrisome. But again, just like when we were on the east and they're on the west, nothing at all I can do about that. I'm getting back to the game because we are going to assault another very large army here. And how stupid would it be of me to not pay any attention here right before a big battle? We're seriously disadvantaged against this Northern Empire force, and we're the attacker. So who knows how this is going to go. But like I've said, this whole campaign, almost every battle at this stage is do or die. There's a very high likelihood of an execution of our main character if we lose a battle at this stage. And that increases the ante. Again, that's very much like the French Revolution, where the people were aware. There's no backing down. There's no negotiating. Once you start beheading kings, you're all in, right? You can't just turn around and say, actually, that was a mistake. We'd like peace now with these other countries. These other countries are now absolutely enraged, trying to destroy your revolution at all costs. And eventually, of course, this led to the Napoleonic era. I will bridge together all these different points at some time during this campaign, but let's get back to this Titanic battle here. This is a very important battle, and it's going to be interesting to see what the enemy does. I'm going to roll immediately all our troops up to this high ground. Anytime you can seize the high ground in a battle like this where you're uncertain what the enemy's going to do, you want to do so, right? We are going to basically pretend like our units started on top of this high hill here and proceed from there. Got a nice position. Clearly, we're going to be able to get our troops up here. Again, it's another gorgeous sunrise in this game. The lighting in this game is exemplary. Let's stick the 5th all the way over there. Let's just start forming a wide C formation. We've got quite a bit of ranged units, quite a bit of infantry, but not very much cavalry. Cavalry remains our weak spot. And there's a good reason for that, right? I have hardly any My Little Warband cavalry units. I only have the Desert Terror or something like that, and it's basically a highly unarmored camel guy, so they get killed a lot. What is the enemy doing here? Are they going down to the beach? These motherfuckers are going down to the beach. Wow, it's almost like the AI has been studying what we do. They are running down to the beach for defense. Now they're kind of jammed in here, like there's a lottery ticket laying on the ground and everybody's scrambling in a big pig pile to win it. What the fuck? 89 damage to my head. That just shows you how weak this guy is. That was one arrow, and it did like half of my health. Must have been a crossbow or something. Shot me right in the face, and it just almost killed me, I guess. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the fucking Winnie the Pooh story when I was a kid. It's like they're trying to get through a hole that's too big for them, and the more I think about it, they have a huge force. They can't all go down to the beach. Let's charge. Let's bring these units up here. This is a golden opportunity. This actually reminds me also of the 1807 Battle of Friedland, where Napoleon caught the Russian army in between across a river. They were trying to cross a river, and there was too many of them, and so they had a hard time getting across the river. And by the time Napoleon's forces started to engage, the Russians were like half in and half out of this river, and Napoleon came up, joined one of his corps that was fighting there. I want to say it was Marshal Ney. I don't remember. And he got there and it was like, holy fuck. You can never get a second opportunity for the enemy to make a mistake like this. The enemy here is making a titanic mistake. Unless they're able to sort of squeeze all their troops down to the beach, I think those guys are literally stuck like halfway down there. I don't think there's enough room. Don't forget, the enemy has a huge amount of troops here. We're outnumbered. So they probably have something like 1,000, maybe 1,100 units on the battlefield right now, and they can't get them down to the beach. At least not all of them. I think we're going to be able to pound them with archers and then set up a kill box here right in this valley, right outside of here. Our archers are going to be set up in like 20 seconds. This is going to be a massacre. I mean, the enemy, again, is playing this as bad as they could. This is absolutely like Bennigsen at the Battle of Friedland. Bennigsen was this Russian general that botched things at Friedland. And Napoleon, like as soon as he got there, looked at it and said, oh, this is... You'll never catch the enemy making a mistake like this twice. Our arrows are going to start raining in here any second now, and this force is scorched. We have archers and horse archers on this flank over here. On the other side, the 6th Corps is going to start lighting them up. The enemy's trapped. Now, the only thing they can do is maybe they'll squeeze all the way down to the beach. But if they don't, we're going to be able to kill like half their force without them being able to move. They're just stuck. They really are Winnie the Pooh here. It looks like their butt is sticking out of this hole. They ate too much honey today. I mean, it's sort of an exploit on this sad AI, but we're going to take advantage in this campaign. I think it's hilarious. The enemy's making a mistake. Don't interrupt them, right? Let's just Napoleon. This is brutal. All right, so this 1st Corps, I was going to bring them up in a square to try to shove down there as a wedge. Oh, shit. All right, let's go ahead and shield them up. We still have a battle here, right? It's not like this battle is over, but my God, does the enemy have a bad position to start. Our archers are just raining in arrows. I'm going to be able to pull this 1st Division in a square like I intended, right across in front of them. I still have the 3rd Corps would charge whenever I want. The 2nd and 7th Corps over here, although their infantry's coming out. Let's go ahead and get crossbow. I can get this crossbow division and just get it completely behind the enemy on that flank. The 7th and the 2nd are here. Those are both cavalry units. We'll just move them back, right? I can simply kite here. This 3rd Division we can move back as well. And the enemy is absolutely in a death maul here. They can't get out. There's nothing they can do. Their reinforcements are going to come out somewhere, but that's after, 800 to 1,000 troops are killed. But before that happens, before they get reinforcements, this battle's going to be over already. Yeah, it's just a continuous stream of green as our archers just fire into the packed enemy ranks. They have 600 troops in there, and none of them are going to survive. This 3rd Division, it's about time to use these lovely ladies in their prom dresses. Almost none of them have even put their hammer on the enemy. We're just killing them in this center valley here, and it would be hard for them to be more fucked. Look at the enemy. I mean, have you ever seen a fucking death spam that looks like that in this situation? It is just scrolling green. You just hear them screaming as they're just shot at from every direction. They're bringing archers up here. Fuck no. The 6th Corps charges with the 8th Corps leading. And I think let's get this 3rd Division in here as well. Let's close the vice. We can bring the 2nd Corps over also. This Cav Division to just trample them and finish the deal here. I mean, talk about a mauling. Come get some. Here come the angry ladies charging downhill into this packed, injured mass. There's going to be some losses here, but my God, did we butcher the enemy in this situation. The 1st Division is in a square still, but I think it actually makes sense just to charge. These archers here will just get skewered by this infantry division, and the enemy is simply just breaking apart. Okay, they got reinforcements over here. Let's get the 1st Division set up over here. I definitely have to protect this wing over here. See all these forces pouring in behind me here? We've got to get these ladies over here. Let's just put them right towards the enemy's face there. We've got good archer protection, although we can just move the archers up high on that far ridge, right? If we can get archers spread out, they'll be able to shoot over this infantry and it'll protect them more. Right on the edge of that ridge there, those guys are now going to shoot over all of our charging infantry. The 3rd Infantry is here with me as well as the 1st. Let's just bore in. The remnants of the 6th should be over here as well. I think the enemy basically just spawned right on top of the 6th. But holy shit, do we have them in a bad position here. And of course, that first wave, we probably got a 10-to-1 KDR. And now we can just have fun, right? It's just time to smash this Northern Empire army to pieces. Like I said, I've been playing like a couple straight hours, and the mouse, my keyboard, and my fingers, we're all one right now. I'm like a what do they call it? The bionic man at this stage. I can just do whatever I want. I could probably throw javelins with perfect accuracy. Once you play for a couple hours, you just get in such a good rhythm. Get up. Oh, you're not dead yet. On your back. And of course, this guy's melee skills are insane, right? Do some leveling here with our polearm, wade through their archers, and just smash these guys to the ground. Off my women. We like our women here. And this This Northern Empire force got obliterated. That was right after that Southern Empire force got fucking absolutely torn apart. These last couple 3 battles have been about as most brutal battles as I've ever fought in Bannerlord. Just textbook destructions of large forces, and we're doing so with tier 3, tier 4 units. Just smashing them to pieces. Get off. His polearm skill's getting up there. I don't know if he's going to get to 250 plus in this campaign, but I don't think it matters. Nothing is standing up to this army at this stage. I mean, we are destroying everything in sight. Outnumbered 2-1, whatever it is, it doesn't seem to matter. In fact, I'm going to go enjoy this beautiful sunrise here while the rest of our troops round up this scum Northern Empire. And yet another hugely successful, crushing battle. We're well on our way to conquering the map, or at least to completing the objectives I had originally in this campaign. This is almost like a mic drop episode right here, just a complete trucking of a force that's much larger than us. Now, obviously, the AI defended about as bad as they could there. That was suicide, what they did. Basically Winnie the Pooh and get stuck in the hole, but we'll take advantage, right? We're not going to complain about it. It is what it is. Sometimes it fucks you over, puts you in a bad spot, and the enemy there, I mean, the key was how we handled it, right? We didn't let them out of the trap. All right, I do finally need a break. I've tried to take a couple breaks. I am going to wrap this episode up. We are going to continue this campaign. It may only be a couple, 5 more episodes. We shall see, friends. Part of it depends on how much you guys are enjoying it. Your comments will tell me a lot. Of course, your likes, all of that stuff tells me a lot. I listen to your feedback. I appreciate you guys. Of course, you want to subscribe. Do you want to see more? Turn on notifications if you want to see when episodes come out. With all that said, friends, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.